Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests. Welcome to the Korea-ASEAN IP Development Workshop 2023. 안녕하세요. 한국콘텐츠진흥원 인도네시아 비즈니스센터장 김영수입니다. 오늘 바쁘신 가운데 행사에 참여해 주셔서 감사드립니다. Perkenalkan saya 김영수, Regional Director KOR-ASEAN Indonesia. Saya ingin mengucapkan terima kasih kepada yang sudah hadir pada acara hari ini. I'm delighted to announce that this event is also accessible for our participants in Korea through online broadcast via Zoom. This event represents an important moment in our journey to foster innovation and collaboration in the dynamic fields of animation, creative intellectual property, and game development. We have a remarkable lineup of sessions ahead that promise to ignite our creative sparks and broaden our horizons. Before we start this exciting agenda, please join me in welcoming Mr. Eka Chandra, Secretary General of INAKI, Association Industry Animation Indonesia, as he shares his congratulatory remarks.
Okay, selamat siang semua. Hello everyone. Nice to meet you all here. I want to thank you, Mr. Kim, for organizing this event, and hopefully that we can have collaboration not only between Indonesian studio, but also with Korean studio as well. Today, maybe we will hear some few insight from the expert. I know Mr. Andy and also Mr. Cipto. Because it's quite look different right now. Yeah, and some others speaker as well. Hopefully we can learning something new today, and we can learn to get some new partnership with us. And I believe that both Korea and also Indonesia have some goals to expand our market. As you know, Indonesia is a very big market, and also Korea as a big market also. And we hope that we can collaborate for future, for bigger prosperity. And once again, thank you for attending this event, and hopefully that we can get new insight and also new partnership. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Eka Chandra, for your inspiring words. Your presence adds great significance to our workshop. Thank you. Now let's proceed with our journey of knowledge and insight. Our first speaker today will share his insight on pioneering animation industry exchange through ODA, Official Development Assistance. Please welcome Mr. Thomas Han-gil Nam, Managing Director of Iconics from Korea.
Selamat siang. Yeah, my name is Thomas Han-gil Nam from Iconics Korea. Thank you for having me. And actually, I'm not sure if my topic will be presenting today is appropriate for today's event, IP Development Workshop. However, I hope it can provide some insight into the exchange and cooperation in the content industry, especially the animation industry between Korea and Indonesia and between Korea and ASEAN countries. How can I? Have you ever seen this article before? It said that the Ministry of Culture, Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology of Indonesia is collaborating with the South Korea's Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism to develop the Luma Indonesiana project. Rumah Indonesiana, House of Indonesiana project is to improve technical capability, particularly in exploring the potential of culture-based digital content. Why would the Korean government collaborating on development of digital content focusing on Indonesian culture rather than Korean culture? Actually, the Korean government should strive to develop and produce digital content based on Korean culture. Why cooperate with House of Indonesiana project? That's because this project is an ODA project. ODA stands for Official Development Assistance. ODA is a project provided by developing countries for economic development and welfare promotion in developing country. And as you know, Korea was one of the poorest countries in the world in the early 1960s. Therefore, Korea benefited from numerous ODA projects to build basic infrastructure, such as highways and hospitals and schools, etc. And thanks to the ODA project, Korea was able to lay the foundation for industries and for economic growth. And since 1987, Korea has transformed into an ODA donor country. And as a member of the OECD's DAC, Development Assistance Committee, since 2010, Korea has been actively participating in international development cooperation projects. Korea is increasing its ODA budget as quickly as its economic growth. 2024, ODA budget is approximately 5.1 billion US dollar. And among them, about 60 million US dollar worth of ODA projects were carried out with Indonesia, including 45 million US dollar in grant aid as of 2021. And Korea is carrying out ODA project with ASEAN countries, including Indonesia, with the following 5 main programs. In ODA project, the following 17 SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, are being proposed internationally. And the first goal pursued by the ODA project is definitely the overcoming the poverty. However, for truly sustainable growth, more values are needed. Therefore, one of the recent ODA trends is to make cooperation between industries self-sustaining, continuous, even after the ODA project period. So among the 5 main programs of the ODA project with ASEAN countries, the first one and the second one, they are aimed at strengthening exchange and cooperation between industries through digital partnership and higher education. Actually, House of Indonesia project is that. The Korean government introduced ODA Korea's new BI, new brand identity at the end of last year. The first and the only country in the world to transition from a recipient country to a donor country, Korea has diverse and rich experience that allows it to view ODA project not only from the donor countries, not only from the perspective of donor countries, but also from the perspective of recipient country. So sharing hope and sharing future is a slogan that symbolizes a change in the perception of ODA, in that ODA is not about donor countries providing aid to recipient countries one way, but about sharing the know-how and the experience by donor countries with recipient countries. So building hospitals, building schools and highways are ODA projects with great significance. However, they are not something that only Korea can do. So Korean government, Korea is thinking about what is a differentiated ODA project. And actually, which Korea experienced during economic growth, most of all, the recipient country expects from Korea rather than any other donor countries. A representative example of this is content ODA. Now, let's look again at this article introduced at the beginning. I think you can probably understand why the Korean government is doing this project with the Indonesian government. Let me introduce House of Indonesia project briefly. House of Indonesia project aims to establish a self-sustaining system to develop Indonesian content professionals through expertise sharing and capacity building from Korea. And over a 5-year period from this year to 2027, Korea and Indonesia will each invest a budget of $4.5 million to build training centers and to run training programs in 6 regions of Indonesia. This project aims to build a foundation and ultimately strengthen exchange and cooperation between 2 countries. In 6 regions, Jakarta in Java, and Sika in Nusa Tenggara Timur, and Jambi in Sumatra, Cirebon in Java, and Badung Bali, and Makassar, Sulawesi, we allocate 4 different content genres: animation, mobile content, and art and culture educational content, and documentary, taking into account the cultural characteristics and industrial environment of each region. I'm sorry? I'm sorry. This year, the first year of the project, the role of the 2 governments will be clarified, and a 5-year implementation strategy will be established. And based on the established cooperation system between Korea and Indonesia, in 2024, training centers in Jakarta and Bandung will be built to begin animation training program, and Jambi, Cirebon, Sika, Makassar are scheduled to begin training in 2025. Through 2 preliminary field trips last June and last August, specific buildings and specific spaces for establishing training centers in 6 regions have been confirmed, and various equipment and space designs to conduct training have been completed. In Jakarta, where animation training will begin next year, we plan to build 2 animation training rooms accommodating 15 people each at the Awakening Museum. And in Badung, we plan to build 1 animation training room accommodating 15 people and 1 recording studio for dubbing work in BPK Badung. In addition, plans to build training equipment and spaces suitable for training of each content genre were confirmed and will be confirmed in the remaining 4 regions. Actually, the core of this project is not the construction of training center itself, but the training of content professionals by utilizing the established training center. In order to sustain the training of content professionals through these training centers, even after the project period, we plan to utilize local Indonesian instructors as much as possible to run basic training program and lecture. In addition, by inviting Korean experts to Indonesia once a quarter in every region, in every training center, and providing workshop training, it will play a role in sharing Korea's content planning and production know-how with Indonesia. For example, in the case of animation, we will provide basic training necessary for animation main production, such as Blender and Real Engine, for the general public and those new to society through cooperation with INAKI. And in areas such as animation planning, animation pre-production, post-production, and animation distribution, copyright, we will invite Korean experts to share our know-hows with Indonesia through intensive workshops. And through this, we plan to train approximately 1,300 trainees during the project period. Yeah. And through this curriculum, about 240 episodes of video content will be produced and distributed through local Indonesian media platform, including Indonesiana TV, under the Ministry of Education, Culture, Research, and Technology. Above all, we plan to provide trainees who complete the curriculum with an excellent grade the opportunity to participate in the Korea-Indonesia co-production project that will begin in 2026. Currently, the specific genre of co-production project has not been determined yet, whether it will be documentary or animation, but the plan is to maximize the purpose of this project, which is to share Korea's know-how with Indonesia. This House of Indonesiana project is in cooperation with Korean Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism and KOK-A, Korea Creative Content Agency, which is responsible for promoting the Korean content industry. Not only the passion and efforts of creators and private companies, but also the strong support of KOK-A played a large role in the worldwide attention of Korean content, such as K-pop, K-drama, K-movie, and K-animation. And expanding KOK-A's support know-how overseas is the House of Indonesiana project, KOK-A's first ODA project. And generally, in the case of ODA project, although ODA project is an intergovernmental project, an organization called the PMC, Project Management Consultant, is needed to actually and concretely plan and execute on the ground. And Korean government and KOR have entrusted that important role to a private company who can open the future together with Indonesia based on understanding of the two countries' content industry. And that company is the company that currently planning, producing, distributing Pororo and Tayo, which are being serviced through TVs and OTT platforms in over 190 countries around the world. And last February, Tayo Bahasa Indonesia channel on YouTube surpassed 10 million subscribers. And the company is very confident that Indonesia is its most valuable partner. The company named Iconics is taking on that important role, and I'm working as a project manager for House of Indonesiana project. And lastly, as mentioned earlier, this House of Indonesiana project, this ODA project, is ultimately aimed at strengthening the foundation of Indonesian industry, content industry, and expanding exchange between the Korean and Indonesian content industries. In other words, if the government, which is public sector, if the government has laid the foundation through nurturing professional manpower, I think it's the role of private companies to bear fruit and to produce result. So I hope let's create something together. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Thomas. Yeah, we will now start Q&A session. The offline and online participants, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Yeah, any questions? Any questions? Okay. Mike. Please introduce yourself firstly.
Tas dulu. Hello, my name is Tegar from Tawalka Animation. It's a kind of basic question since I know that when you talk about Korea, in my mind I can always think about K-pop and manhwa. It's very easy for me to imagine that. But what do you think about Indonesia? What kind of thing that people will think when they heard about Indonesia? Because for me personally, it's really difficult to create like content that talking about Indonesia, especially Indonesian culture. What do you think will be easy for us to create a content about Indonesia? Thank you.
Do you mean as a Korean?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I don't know how people see us from other countries.
Okay. It's my personal opinion. Actually, for me, Indonesia is not just a big country or a lot of population, but for me, actually, Indonesia has diverse culture and a lot of, I cannot remember the number, but a lot of the 민족이 뭐죠? A lot of race. Anyway, yeah, a lot of religion and a lot of culture. So actually, you know, Korean culture is very strong in the world, but not just to pursue only for global, but start from the local culture. So I think Indonesia has a lot of potential because you have a great and diverse the culture. So House of Indonesian project is to how to develop the Indonesian diverse culture to the center of Indonesia, not only to the center of Indonesia, but also to global. So it is just a start point, I think. And to develop your resource, I think the collaboration with your government is very important. Like KOR is supporting our industry since, as far as I remember, since 2000. That's for animation industry, that's the point from service work to IP development. So combining together with the government is very important to develop your resources. Yeah.
Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Okay, any questions? Okay.
Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Johan Bauer, and I'm from, maybe I'm just me because I'm not representing any company, but both as a professionals in the creative industry or maybe as a company, I have two questions. First, how can I contribute to this project in a practical way? And one first, and then who should I contact, which organization, or if I want to contribute? Because I just need to be said very, very clearly if I want to contribute or so. I know it's kind of stupid, but I mean, I just want to make it straight. Thank you.
Yeah. Actually, ODA project, as I mentioned, is an intergovernmental project. Actually, as a PMC, project management consultant, I cannot guarantee your the way how to participate in our project. But basically, it's very open for everybody as a trainees. So maybe at the end of this year or early of this year in Jakarta, the Awakening Museum will release some document to the public. So they are open to attend as a trainee for the training program. And if you would like to join as not as a independent individual, but as a company or for a business, it is a little bit complicated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Noted. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Hello, Mr. Thomas. I'm Ridwan from Dovala Animation Studio. I would like to ask about your program have some teaching for the animation studio. So I would like to ask where the teacher coming from. Is it from Korea or is it from company can join to teaching for like in Badung or in Jakarta? Thank you.
Okay. Actually, in my presentation file, I shared our plan is actually we have two tracks. To sustain our project, even after the ODA project period, we try to utilize as much as possible, utilize local Indonesian instructors for basic training programs. That's why we try to collaborate with INAKI. So I'm not sure your company is under INAKI or not, but if you would like to as an instructor, please contact to INAKI. If so, you can join as an instructor for our project. And another track is we have planned to invite Korean experts to the program every quarter in every training center to especially focusing on animation planning, pre-production and distribution, copyright. It will be a kind of 1-week workshop in every quarter.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay. Let's go to the next session about animation IP in Indonesia. Please welcome Mr. Andi Wijaya, founder and CEO of Luminous Studio Indonesia.
Halo, selamat siang. Good afternoon. Perkenalkan, nama saya Andi dari Lumin Studio. Pada kesempatan this opportunity, I would like to discuss exploring animation industry and production di Indonesia. Sorry. Okay, so. I think the industry itself, animation, visual effects and games in Indonesia is really developed and picking up for these past few years, especially after the COVID times. And as Lumine itself, we are focusing on 3 things: animation, visual effects, and game arts as well. But for the last few years after the pandemic, visual effects is one of our main production that we are focusing on. Just a little bit of what we've done for the service work. So we are focusing on the service work rather than IP at this moment. We also work for Iconics as well before for Super Zack, and yeah, we did some Korean VFX as well. So I'm just gonna move on to the landscape for animation. I think the animation VFX industry in Indonesia before COVID is really picking up. We can see a lot of animation studio in Indonesia. The new studios and the production, and it really increased a lot. I think it's about 153% increase for the animation industry. And Indonesia is also growing significantly in the service work to export to other countries as well. But during pandemic, I think it really hit us as well. We felt it in Lumine. The production during COVID, everything stopped, project canceled, and there is a lot of decrease in terms of production. But I think, but COVID itself bring a new landscape for us. Video, Netflix, View, Disney Hotstar is coming as our entertainment during the new normal. And also the advancement in technology in production, it really developed during that time. So we need to keep an eye on the technology itself. AI is doing a lot in the production. We utilize some AI, another like motion capture as well. It's for animation is they do a lot motion capture lately. And but in Indonesia itself, we still have a lot of issue or restraints in terms of the skill gap, the education level, that we need to really focus on that, and the capital investment as well. I mean, in Indonesia, the investor is not really yet, how do you say it, believe in this industry yet, but the last year is really changing a lot, especially for film. With the Hollywood, the strike and everything, I think the sales itself for the local theater, 60% is to Indonesian local IP. So it's a good thing, and hopefully it will go to animation as well. And also piracy is also still an issue here, but I think it's getting better in terms of the knowledge, the people that willing to spend on the original contents.
CGI ads are having a giant moment in the market.
And
The internet is filled with stunning CGI.
this is sample of after the COVID times, the AR, VR, it really emerging in terms of gaming industry, and then the Unreal Engine is used for filmmaking as well. So it's a very exciting production, I would say. And this is the forecast for Indonesia OTT market. Right now, it's valued at 870 million in 2020, and it will be projected 16,000 million by 2031 in Indonesia itself. So it's a really big development. I mean, we are still in the baby industry, but I think the growth will be significant in 10 years' time from now. I would also bring a topic on the technology itself in terms of production. I would like to share this because I think it's very important that we understand in terms of production for animation or VFX, we really need to tap into the software and the hardware technology. We cannot just depend on the the talent, but like using 3D scans for VFX, it's really cut down the whole production time. This is some sample that we did for a movie in Sri Asi. And also motion capture. We're developing motion capture as well in our studio to bring more realism for the visual effects and for choreography in terms of action scene. And I believe animation is also, there's a lot of more and more animation using motion capture. And we also develop our internal tools. I think it's very important to understand that animation production really relying on the technology in terms of development of your own tools in the studio. So to speed up the process, that's why we engage with OpenPipe to do all the database project management using Abstract as well. It's very important. And lastly, I would like to showcase the video on the VFX showreel. So this is some works that we did for Indonesian IP for movies. But this year we actually got trusted by Korean company to do a VFX project as well. Maybe we can show the Korean project. Thank you. So this is a very big opportunity for us when we get into this project. It's called the Concrete Utopia, and we did also moving in the Disney Hotstar. So this, thank you. So this IP actually is a Korean IP from Webtoon, and then they created into a live action show. I think it got a really good feedback from the audience. And again, it's not easy when we get into the first project. I mean, there's still a gap in terms of the talent, the education, and how we need to achieve this level with the Korean project. But it's really exciting and fun for us to be involved in the project. And we're looking, basically, Indonesia is ready to become a service partner or building IP together with Korea. I think we're looking forward more partnership ahead between Indonesia and Korea. Thank you.
Wow, it's amazing.
Thank you.
And thank you very much, Mr. Andi Wijaya, for sharing your expertise. Let's now engage in another round of questions from our enthusiastic audience. Any questions? Any question? No? Okay, yeah, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Okay, shifting our focus to game industry now to share insight about development and service strategies based on creative intellectual property. We welcome Mr. Lim Sujin, Managing Director of Well Data System from Korea.
이거는 놔둬야 되네. 안녕하세요. Hello, everyone. First of all, thank you for inviting me in this exceptional workshop for Korean Asian IP development. I'd like to thanks to KOKA first, the Korean Mobile Game Association also, and Anika, AI not key, yeah, and then AGI, and Korean KOKA Indonesia, and all the staffs on the backside there, and especially for Mr. Young-Soo Kim, the regional director of KOKA Indonesia. Yeah. As we saw today from the first presentation, the IP market is getting larger and larger every day, and I believe it has a huge potential, especially Indonesia, including the Singapore and Southeast Asia, which has a huge populations who likes the famous IPs. So today, I will summarize the important things to develop the IP-based game for global market service, and then how can we achieve the successful results for it. This is Sujin Lim, and I've been working in the gaming industry over 20 years, especially for international business side. And currently I'm working in the Korean IT industry, which is providing cloud service for the Korean government and their agencies. So I would like to take today's opportunity to share my experience and core success features of IP games to all of you guys. First of all, we need to understand that developing a game and preparing a game service based on the creative intellectual property for global market is, yes, very complex, and then a very multifaceted process. Because IP is a famous thing. So it is very good to recognize for all of the users. But in the other hand, it is also very difficult to fulfill their expectations based on its quality. So it means the concept and design of IP-based game should be accepted by the users, and the quality of the game service also should be understood at the same level of that IP quality. Simply says, if you are a developer, you need to satisfy the users with the quality of your IP game. We need to carefully handle several steps to develop a qualified game from IP creation and concept development to development a game and assemble skilled team and utilize the tools and key measures and cross-platform compatibilities to cover PC and mobile and building monetization strategy for each platform, blah, 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 a lot. So we need to carefully check about each steps. IP creation and concept development is a kind of foundation to make the successful IP game. We can spread out my documentation, so you don't need to take a picture. Choose your IP. The creative IP is a unique and compelling story, or it has a potential to resonate with the global audience, and ensure that IP is marketable and can translate well into the game. And obtain the necessary licensing right and permission from that IP owner, or you can create your own IP, and ensure that license agreement covers the scope of all the game development and the service side. And developing a game concept that efficiently integrates the children IP and capturing its themes and characters and narratives also. And create a gameplay mechanism that offers the enlarged and unique experience while catering to broad audience. And to develop the game, you need to assemble the skillful team and utilize tools. Build a team of development and a designer and an artist and the writers with experience in game development side and a deep understanding of your IP. And utilize tool, it helps employ the cutting edge game development tool, engines, and technologies to ensure the high quality product. And collaborate with experienced game designers who understanding how to translate the essence of the IP into the game, and they develop a game that engaging the true to the IP with a mix of storytelling, gameplay mechanic, and the graphics also. Also, they ensure the game accessible on multiple platform, PC, console, mobile, to reach or to widen the audience. And the most important part is a continuous gathering of user feedback, and then community to adapt your game and service strategy as the market evolves. Wow, yeah, there's a lot of things you need to check. And to complete your IP game, you need to care various development measures also. I think that most of developers has a better understanding about the game development than mine, but please make sure don't miss certain parts by mistake. Well, simply check about this. The cross-platforms and stable server infrastructures, optimize load testing, community engagement tool providing and keeping data privacy and the compliance, and all organized development documentations and scalable backend, and providing multiplayer infrastructures and efficient scalability and safe database management, continuous contents updates and the patching, and various monetization integration, and feedback loop, which is related to testing and quality assurance, and keeping technology stacks, use of efficient cloud service, and controlling latency optimization, and smooth content delivery, continuous integration and continuous deployment, CI/CD code, and supporting the performance optimization and stable regular backup and disaster recovery plan, and keeping necessary compliance in the regulation and the law, and providing each voice and text chatting option, and strong admin tools, and securing game and users' information security, and analyzing the monitoring the data, providing various player support system, and providing global localization, providing APIs and integration for marketing and billing, and keeping resource management and anti-hacking, server-side stable logic, and streaming and video integration for esports or promotion, something, etc. Lots, right? So all of your developers will agree on it. But sometimes, because of the lack of the budget or lack of the period, development period, sometimes some parts can be ignored while developing, but it causes some problem later. This one is, so I checked the important things for the Southeast Asian market. So I'd like to strongly recommend, please make a game which has a cross-platform compatibility. Because there are many benefits if you do a game service in multiple platform, but the most important reason is it could reduce your marketing budget and enlarge your payment method. Because user acquisition cost for mobile is much higher, much expensive than PC game, approximately 1.8 to 2 times. And to reduce marketing budget, distribute game marketing campaign for PC and mobile budget around 50-50 rate. And cross-platform play provides more efficient way of user acquisition method to reduce marketing budget. Also, the cross-platform play can support various payment method, which is each efficient in PC or mobile environment. In PC, you can use the traditional payment method, such as a bank transfer, the credit card, and PIN number, etc. And in mobile, you can use the recent payment methods such as e-card, gift card, and collaborative points and platform payments, etc. Blah blah lot. But this is a little bit tricky part. Most of people are using a mobile, but how we gonna spend the PC? That's the kind of marketing side idea, but I'll tell you later about that. So it comes from related with monetization strategy. The building monetization strategy for each platform is the key to maximize your revenue, especially in global market. It is important to choose monetization method that easily can access with your target audience. That is not losing the nature of your game and the expectation of your players. Because it means if you're thinking about monetization only, not because of your concept or value of IP, it hurts the game itself. The striking a balance between monetizations and player experience is crucial to maintain a healthy player base and long-term success. To do that, the regular analyzing of your users' purchase data and gather users' feedback to adjust your monetization strategy should be necessary things. So through this part, I will skip it very shortly, but through this part we complete the game development, then how you're gonna operate the game. So far we checked the step of IP game development side. Now let's check about the game service preparation part. The well-prepared game service strategy will be helpful to your game's smooth growth and reduce marketing costs and lifetime value. No, increasing lifetime value, yeah. And to prepare IP based on the game and that service, we need to check global localization and community building and focus-driven marketing and promotion and data analytics and player insight gathering and increasing your long-term service value. So global localization and community building is very kind of traditional way of preparing of global game service, but most difficult part as well. I would like to recommend to the developer that working with experienced partner to fulfill this part. For example, there's a company in Korea, called the Lattice Global. Yeah, such a Korean localization expert company. So work with the localization company much easier to minimize the mistake of miscultural content creating. The first, translate the game into the multi-languages and adopt concepts such as dialogues, the cultural references, and visual to resonate with the player from the diverse regions, and use various beta testing about your contents to gather user feedback and make necessary adjustment before a live service. And use each region-based based on global community to analyze different users' taste and play behavior. Behavior will also be very helpful. And to prepare the marketing and promotion, please always keep focus on the ROAS. They call the return of advertisement spending. You can work with a various marketing agency, marketing company, or you can do a marketing by yourself to perform the continuous marketing activity based on your marketing plan. When you select a marketing company, select who can provide you the instant marketing channel change options based on the real-time ROAS result. Otherwise, you will spend a bunch of wrong money. And when you do a marketing by yourself, please select proven method which can give you efficient ROAS result. Of course, there are many important KPI, but in terms of marketing side, please remember ROAS. ROAS will be the key to get the most efficient marketing budget spending for your game. And to understand user feedback and the result of your marketing performance, you need to focus on the KPIs based on the data analysis. Based on the data analysis result, please make sure that the result should be dedicated to the game development or the new patch. Then let's check about the important KPIs on the matrix categories base. Yes, it is so many. Also, well, it is difficult to explain all KPI metrics today, but I'd like to inform you guys to need to check those KPI when you prepare IP game service, also when you're operating a game. So let's talk about this. So many, but I think you guys know about all the meaning, and you guys will understand the meaning of the KPIs, what it representative of your users' behavior and your marketing budget's result. So please make sure on each user's acquisition and engagement and monetization in gameplay, user feedback and their satisfaction, marketing and acquisitions, and community and social response, and technical performance side, okay? But it's not the end. There are another, so many. And also you need to keep focus on the following part: the user support, economic and the financial things, and legal and IP protections, the global reach and the localizations, and whale group, and contents and updates, and self-censorship, and incorrect use of IP contents. Especially, not many of marketing guys are mentioning these two things. So I will share this experience, especially the whale group management and self-censorship part should be managed by the C-level of the company directly. C-level officer should check about this part. The whale group is core engine of your revenue monetization. Each whale group user should be managed very carefully with various VIP care methods, such as regular call, the birthday gift, and pre-share of game contents updates, and invitations for the game events or exhibition, etc. If you see the big Chinese company or the top 4 Korean game company, they call game publisher, you can find the VIP call number, or they directly send a VIP complaint call number to the whale group. This is key, but I never seen such an actions when I working in the international business side for online game in Southeast Asia. So that's the key. That's why they are earning a bunch of money. They are huge. Around 98% of revenue comes from this whale group. Your marketing budget should be focused on them. Your other 2% is just average users who loves your game, who loves your IP and your game style whatsoever. But important thing is to earn and to maximize your revenue, you need to get the whale group. This is key. And the self-censorship is also very sensitive matters to control. Your development team, by your operation team. If you're a development team guy or marketing guy, intentionally do some evil actions, it causes a huge loss of your reputation and your revenue. For example, I would like to share one example of my friend's company in Korea. I will not tell the name of the company, but everybody will know about that company name after my explanation. For example, in Korea, there was one development company, and my friend's company was a publisher, and they made a contract, and they spent over 20 billion Korean won, including the G-Star sponsorship. G-Star is one of the biggest Korean game exhibition. In every November, it had the held in Busan, Korea. So they got a sponsor, even the sponsorship for their new game marketing. But among their development guy, one man, just one man, used some evil wording to the very sad Korean democratic event in history, that the military shoot the civilians while they are protesting in Gwangju on 18th of May in 1980. That guys named that 518 chapter name into the riot of the red. It means that sad democratic tragedy was the actual riot by the people who was ordered from the North Korea. It's kind of a fake history. They spread quite a lot, and it means it's ignoring of the people who were sacrificed on the day. So that was founded by the users, not from the reporters, not from anyone. Even there is a Korean official censorship in the government, right? Even they didn't understand about that. But the users feel like, oh, this is something a little bit strange. And then he tried to find the other chapter, called 1018 or 625, something like that, that's related in Korean history. All the language was evilly changed and faked and expressed in the wrong way. So because of that kind of several fake history naming in the contents, that was founded by user, and that new game was just disappeared. Just disappeared in the game market, and that game company lost their reputation also, and they lost their market opportunity, and now they still having very hard time during 8 years. Yes. So please make sure your IP game should be not involved by any politics and anti-social and any religious something, and any evil contents through your self-censorship process. That is very important part also. And you guys can easily search such bad examples easily. Okay, and oops. And making a plan for the long term and be ready to adapt to changing market conditions, and player reference will be also needed while operating a game. So those are things is that you guys need to consider while you're preparing the game development and the game operation. As I explained from the first, building a successful game development and the service strategy around your creative IP, that is a very complex and an ongoing process. And please remember that developing a successful global game and providing a good service based on an IP, it takes time and dedication. The maintaining a consistency and improving a game and service quality and deep understanding of your audience will be the key to achieve long-term success in the very competitive gaming market. Yeah. So once again, thank you for this wonderful workshop for KOR, and then KOR Indonesia, and then AINAK and AGI, and all the staffs in the backside, and all the participants here. And if you guys need any assistance or the consulting for working with Korean gaming companies or Korean IP games development or do some marketing, feel free to contact me anytime. And I was really surprised that I saw that Disney drama moving, and I didn't realize that that company is here. Yeah, so I was really excited to hear that. So I believe there will be a lot of chance that Indonesian and Korean gaming guys can cooperate together. For example, before we started, I discussed with the Mr. I just forgot his name because we just met. Guys from the one of the biggest gaming company in Indonesia, and then I asked him to, can you find a way to enter the China market with Korean developers? And then he said, what's that? So because of the relationship with political relationship between Korean and China, Korean game never go into the China market. And then, but China games can do a service in Korea. It's a little bit silly, but our government doing nothing during 8 years. So many of Korean companies are preparing the way, so they are establishing a branch office in Singapore or Taiwan or in other Southeast Asia, and they renew the game and to enter the Chinese market. Because today I can imagine some opportunities there, how we're gonna work together for that. So I would like to share some more ideas with Indonesian developers about my idea. So anytime, just call me and then just contact me to share about these kind of big plans to enter the China together. Okay, thank you very much.
Mr. Lim, thank you very much for your insightful presentation. Let's open the Q&A session once again. There any questions? Please turn on. Yeah.
Hello, Mr. Lim.
Hello.
My name is Tegar.
Yep.
For the past 2 years, me and my friends have some kind of small research about Wales players in Indonesia.
Yep.
We are focused on 2 games, Fate Grand Order. For 3 games, Fate Grand Orders. Then 2 of them is Hoyo first game. It's Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail. And my question is, actually, how to convert a normal players to a Wales? Because from what we found, actually some of the Wales that we know, and some of our samples is actually in debt. They're actually minus 120 million rupiah or something, but they still like fall in love with the game. So how to convert from a normal players to a Wales, even though they don't have money? That is my question.
Okay, that's the very important questions. Thank you for your questions. And then, let's thinking about the Korean games. 1 Korean game and 1 Chinese game. 1 Korean game is a Lineage. It's still #1 in PC and mobile. During 11 years, they built several buildings in Pangyo area in Korea. Very expensive area. And then they spend lots of money, but they're still earning money because of the Lineage, and they are controlling the Whale Group. Exactly the same methods as a gangster, gangster. Well, this is a little bit very, harsh example, but when you manage the Whale users, you give him a power to control your brothers who spending less than you. And he also have a power who can control less than you, less spending than you. So those things is almost similar with the pyramid, the same as a gangster group, but that is very, very 11 years experienced concept. So that I don't want to recommend you about that way, but best way is giving him some power in the game to help the other users. So I want to give you the example of one Chinese game called Three Kingdom Story. The Korean name is 삼국지 전략판, but in English name is Three Kingdom Story Strategic Mode, something like that. And then in that game, if you are the whale users, you already have a super strong heroes, generals, so you can defeat several other players, and you can be the leader of your guild. You can be the second leader of your guild, and they can do several things. For example, the guild master can appoint who will be in charge of the destruction, who will be in charge of new users recruiting, or he can appoint several part of his 5 brothers, for example, and then each of his brothers have the empowered power who can do some action in the game. That's a way how they manage the middle size of the tuna users. Yes, so we call that, yeah. So there's whale users, and there's tuna users, and there's the fish users, right? So this is the way how they develop in the game. So empower something within the game that you do something for the other player. I would like to recommend that way. That's more efficient, because in case of NCSoft side, well, that's a Korean company, but I don't like them. Oh, that's okay. Yeah, because that's a little bit tricky. Yeah, a little bit tricky. Please erase this part. Yeah. Yeah, that's a little bit tricky part. So I'd like to recommend very soft way that the developers can design within the game. So giving some very little option, but it makes the use special. That's the answer, I think.
Oh, and I have one more question.
Okay.
There's actually a game. I actually don't know whether it has come from China, Korea, or Japan. It's an online game, and it has a very, very beautiful story, and it's kind of like MMO, but the gameplay is, for that time, is quite good. I kind of forget that name, but I don't know why, but after 3 or 4 years, the publisher goes bankrupt, even though there's thousands and thousands of players that actually love the games, but they told the players that they don't have any revenue. There's actually like a mall inside the game, like a cash mall, but why did that company don't have any revenue, even though a lot of people actually love that game?
I'm not 100% understand with your questions, because I don't have any background about that game.
I'm sorry, I also forget about the game's name.
Yeah, but I think there are many users, but if you have a lack of your revenue, that means your monetization model have some problem. So as I explained to you, while preparing the game development and doing game service, you need to collect users' feedback continuously, and you need to analyze the data based on the KPI that I showed you. The reason why all such a gaming marketing guys are keeping focus on that KPI to find their way. The KPI shows always the answer. The reason why I ask you guys, when you're thinking about the marketing, you need to check about the loss first. That is the kind of Bible. Some people said, why it is Bible? Then I can explain like why 1 + 1 is 2. Yeah, loss is the based on the loss. You need to take care of all the KPI concepts and the reason why we are collecting that KPI and why we are combining those informations to find the other concept to give more benefits, to develop the new updates. That should be dedicated. The result, analyzed result, should be dedicated to the next page. Otherwise, why you do that, right? So analyze and dedicate to the new page, and then show it to the users and get their feedback again. It's continuously ongoing process. So if you're thinking about the long-term, successfully doing a long-term service, there are so many games, right? If they are collecting every day, they're collecting users' data every day, and every different reason, based on the different reason, different age, different gender, different spending money type, they collecting all the information and they analyze, and they affecting it to the next page. That's why they are doing a long term. So finding the method comes from the KPI first, I think. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Any questions? One more? Yeah.
Thank you. Hello, good afternoon, Ms. Lim. I am Fare from Rion Comics. Firstly, I want to say my personal impression after playing 2 Korean games that recently resurging into Indonesian community. The first game is Blue Archive, and then the second is The Goddess of Victory, Nikkei. So both of them are from the Korean developer, right? Yeah, I mean, I want to say that how they approach the community is kind of, in a good way, it's kind of heavily influenced by Japan. Either by the game design, the character design, the concept, the story, even the voice acting is also using the Japanese version as well.
Yeah, right.
So firstly, I want to hear your opinion about that, because it's kind of different. While if we compare it with like Lineage or Black Desert Online, who is more approaching on MMO approach style, and then now they become like for Nikkei and for Blue Archive, they adapt more like a mobile game style, which doesn't require a competitive style on playing.
Yeah.
So, but eventually they also have many whale players as well, to just getting some characters or skins or whatnots that can increasing or enhancing players' experience while playing the game. So firstly, I want to hear your opinion about that. And then secondly, as we are coming from a comic industry as well, so I want to hear your opinion about is there any possibility or is there any opportunities for Korean games to also do a cross media, to either for animation or comics in Indonesia?
Okay, I'd like to answer you for the second question first.
Yeah, okay.
Use Coca. Yeah, they doing a lot of such and sharing programs.
Yeah.
The world best. Use Coca. Especially Coca Indonesia, yeah, right? Yeah. They are doing a lot of such an IP sharing and exchange programs in every year, in every quarters. So please discuss with Coca Indonesia to find such a good Korean company or who is interested about that. That's my first answer. And then the first about your first questions is that the how you're gonna build up your users community. As you know, the IPs comes from Japanese side, so Japanese and Korean have a language barrier, but among the Korean who like the Japanese cultures, they already love that, right? So they already discuss in such an internet the site community site called DC, and some gallery based communities in website.
Yeah.
So on that site, and they discuss really a lot, like 10 pages per 1 hour, just keeping. Because they are keep doing complaining, they're spreading some of their opinions. I'm not sure why they are doing that for their game contents, but the fans are there. So the developers and the marketers, they realize that, oh, our users are there. So they start to communicate with them in that website.
Okay.
So people understanding that if I write down some of my complaint to the game about this new patch, they will listen. So they find a way how you're gonna communicate to the user on the other website. It's a very rare case. But if you prepare while you are doing a development, for example, the good method is making a development blog, and then you keep update of how you're gonna developing and who's coming on our development team, and what we had on the dinner, something like that. Very small thing. You should start to share with your users who is interested. And then maybe it takes 6 months to complete your development. And then there will be around 30 times 6 is 1,800 contents already exist on your development blogs. Yeah, that's how you're going to communicate. And this is the way how BTS did it when they practice. Yeah. So that's, I think such a building community is very important option, especially for your core users gathering. But that's not just the one time happening. It takes time.
Regularly.
Yeah, continuously, you need to start to discuss, and you need to find where is your users. So you need to find all the place, right? So, but it's very difficult to do that because you don't have much time to development, right? That's why you use a marketing guy, right? Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, please your information, register your information to our list. Okay, Kokai donation.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, any question? Okay.
All right.
Yeah, thank you so
very
much. Okay. Our next presenter will explore how Indonesian game IPs are finding success with a unique focus on overseas market. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Cipto Adiguno, Chief Strategy Officer of Agate Indonesia.
Tes. Halo, selamat pagi, siang, sorry ya. Atau sore sekarang, yeah. Good afternoon everyone. My name is Cipto and I'm the Chief Strategy Officer of Agate. Maybe a short intro about Agate. We are Indonesia's largest game development company. We started out in 2009. We are based in Bandung and we currently house about 250 people in our company. So one of the largest, not just in Indonesia, but also in Southeast Asia. Here I'm going to share some focus on IP development in games. While previously there has been like a lot of great insights about game development in general, especially in mobile games. Definitely take the slides because there's a ton of insights that we had to learn ourselves in the hard way. So you guys can learn it the easy way or the shortcut way by getting the previous presentation. In my session, I would like to delve more about how Indonesian game IPs are finding success, especially nowadays. And the big takeaway in the end is that somehow IPs started out from games, found their success mainly overseas first before going back to local. So, okay, I would like to start by a short intro about Agate. We've done quite a lot of work for worldwide clients. So originally in 2009, we started out doing Flash games for the web, if you remember those dark eras. And also after that, we moved towards gamification and worked with quite a lot of clients and partners, some of the big names here, from games to non-games, most of you should be familiar with. And currently we are working for three aspects of core business. By far, our biggest business is full game development, which is developing games from start to commercialization. This is different from most of similar businesses who focus on certain verticals, for example, just arts or just engineering, but our focus is to develop from start to finish. And to prove that, we also have our own IPs for mobile, for PC, and for consoles. We also have some extended capabilities over here, but really our core business is these three. Getting into the topic of how Indonesian game IPs are finding success, I would like to preface this first by looking at brief history of Indonesia's game industry. So this is the early 2010s era of PC MMOs. You can see quite a lot of Korean games over here. And back here, almost all of the most successful games of this era actually came from South Korea. This was the era of internet cafes when probably people my age who have like skipped school and went to internet cafes and play. I did that a lot. Back then, South Korea had a similar gaming culture to Indonesia, which made use of internet cafes to gather communities. And these internet cafes collaborate with local publishers who provide access to new updates, voucher distributions, and exclusive community activities. So, for example, if your internet cafe has a big community and you actively do local events, then the publishers will give you like special access to, for example, merchandise of the games or like special vouchers or special events. So back then, publishers were very relevant to the game industry because they have the knowledge and the access to on-the-ground events and communities. Back then, despite high domestic absorption share, all the IPs are mostly foreign-owned. That's not necessarily a bad thing, though. And then a few Indonesian IPs tried to seize the opportunity and compete in this market. I don't know if you remember these games. Probably not, because it was not very popular. Sorry. So thank you if anyone still remembers this game. Some Indonesian companies looking at the market and feeling that they can seize this opportunity, tried to do their homegrown IPs, usually utilizing the narrative of local culture or historical background. Like, for example, clearly these are inspired by Indonesian history and Indonesian culture. However, none of them actually succeeded big time due to a lot of various reasons over here. Mainly, games are hard. Not just hard to make, but also hard to market. Because back then, the games that are successful are MMOs, like massive multiplayer online games. Then several of these companies who tried to do local games, they started by doing MMORPGs or MMOs. And as probably anyone who worked in games know, making multiplayer games, especially massive online multiplayer games, are a big task. It's a big pain in the behind. And the Indonesian industry back then was still new, and the developers were not capable of executing that. So homemade games are difficult, and also some of them try to license game from outside, and change it into into a local game, but that also still required quite a lot of effort and skills that back then our developers did not have. Especially because local investors were not familiar with game industry, and there has been no success story. This is a bit of a chicken and egg problem that probably you can draw similarities with the startup industry back then in Indonesia if you are familiar with it. Like before there were unicorns, it was a bit hard to get investments, but afterwards investors are like pouring in because they already see a success story. But at this stage, there were no success story and investors were skeptical. So it was difficult to gain budget for this. Yeah, and also some other issues over here. But I think what the previous presentation also mentioned, that in Indonesia especially, and with other games also, a big reason why people play games is because of the community. And when a community is already exists in a game, then if you want to make your game successful, it's not only a matter of getting new players, but pulling the entire community away from another game to your game. So it becomes like not just moving several people, like moving an entire village. So it's very difficult, yeah. Okay, so wait. So instead, people found, companies back then found success in Flash and web games. Like this is one of our earliest games, Valterian Arc. It was in Flash and web, you can still play it, I suppose. And also Football Saga, this was actually the most popular game in Indonesia on the web back then. You own, in this, you play as a club owner of a football team, and then you fight in tournaments, you play in tournaments against other teams. It was quite popular that people are actually like hosting play together events in certain hours of the tournament, so they can like play first and win the competition. So back then, this was not a unique case of Agate, but back then, because we were, Indonesian game companies were unable to compete in the local market, we did our own IPs made on Flash, and like do this platform, if you remember these names. Some of them are Agate and Toge Productions, also a company in Indonesia, based in Tangerang. And another angle that people tried was to do game development services for larger overseas game companies and gamification services for domestic conventional companies, like for example, using games for advertising or for assessment needs. And then this was pre-2020. There were quite a bit of early successes for locally made games. Between 2010 and 2020, these are some of the games that we know have gathered quite a significant revenue. Maybe I should not say the numbers because I actually know of these games, but I promise not to tell people. So two of these, this is also, this Valterian Arc was made for PC and console. It was, we used the same IP from the Flash game and made them into a PC and console game for Xbox One and PlayStation 4. And then there's also Dreadout. This is one of the most popular horror game from Indonesia. And these four are mobile games, mostly casual and mostly casual or idle game. So yeah, these are some of the early successes before 2020. So we can see that at this point in 2020, not just Agate, but quite a lot of local game companies have moved from Flash games, because of course Flash like died, right? So, so a lot of game companies moved into PC and mobile, and back here, quite a lot of game companies still managed to find success in mobile. But if we look at current situations after 2020, a lot more game IPs actually found success. But they found success in PC and console. Very rarely do Indonesian game IPs found success in mobile. And if you see these, all of these titles, again, this is the continuation of Alternate Arc, most of these found their success outside of Indonesia in the PC and console, mostly in US and Europe. So it's not just about the number, the amount of revenue. I mean, it's really a good thing that we are producing more IPs, more game IPs than ever, and finding more sustainably successful companies from them. But also that not just a matter of revenue, but we are also quite dominating in Southeast Asia in terms of awards. So it's not really just about revenue numbers, but also artistically, we, at least regionally, we are seen as one of the best in creating artistic IPs. We won 3 years in a row for Level Up KL Sea Game Awards, which is really great. And also other awards over here and over there. Yeah, also from Japan. This was award from Tokyo Game Show. Mostly in these games, we see that Indonesian games have award-winning narratives because most of these games are narrative-based. So I think looking at the past 2 or 3 years, that's been our specialty. Even when, for example, for this game, this game is very clearly Indonesian-inspired. So I think in the recent years, looking back at what we did in the, what the games industry did in the early 2010s, which are creating their own IPs based on historical. Back then it didn't work out because it was like straight up to MMOs. But right now, people in Indonesia game industry seem to be finding a balance between bringing the culture, Indonesian specific culture and narrative into commercially successful titles. So we managed to find a balance to be both unique and still appealing to international audience. So this is the kind of sample that after finding success outside, for example, Dreadout, the biggest, they said that the largest revenue source was from US first, and then China, and then I think Indonesia was, I think, top 5. But it got turned into a movie, and this is now available on Netflix as well. And it reached, I think, just 10 or 20,000 shy of 1 million viewers in the movies in Indonesia only. So it was quite a big success. And then the same company, actually, the same company who turned this game into a movie tried again with another Indonesian game. This was even a better success. And tried another one, which is also a success. If you guys ever see like horror movie big promotions in the Jakarta streets, and they have like ghosts on the top, blame these people, yeah. It shocked me when I first saw. And the funny thing is, all these 3 games are turned into movies by the company that we previously have seen before in the previous slides. Can I move back? I can't move back? Okay. Wait. Yeah, it actually got turned into movies by this company, who actually found their first successes publishing Korean games. So this is a sample that people who, like companies who have know about games and know about the behavior of local Indonesian purchasing behavior, can turn something that maybe other companies don't see, like for example, games that are popular outside. They see the appeal of bringing it back, the IP back to Indonesia. So that's how a sample of how internationally successful title becomes locally successful as well. And another point of a sample is that, for example, Space for the Unbound, this game made by Tokyo Productions, this actually got awards from outside of Indonesia first, and then their biggest revenue is from Indonesia. Stark contrast from the general idea or general belief that people in Indonesia do not play PC and console games. That We all thought that they will follow this success, that they found success in US and Europe first, or the Western market first, but no, actually, Space for the Unbound's #1 revenue comes from Indonesia. So this is a general sample of how Indonesian game IPs actually found success outside first. We generate this kind of hype that we actually now make good games before Indonesians ourselves find or believe that we can do good games and start to buy our own products, which is quite a shame, but that's how it is. So hopefully it will work out well in the future. So these are some of our own IPs that we also did to target the local market first. So these 3 things we made deliberately made to target the Western market first. And then these 3 are mobile games that targeting local Indonesian market. So Memories, this was a visual novel where you become this, drama, nondescript woman that somehow all the boys like her. And you can date really handsome boys who somehow really fall head over heels over you. People like that. And it became the #1 grossing narrative game for mobile in Indonesia. And also this was Code Atma, which is a game where you can you can capture local ghosts like this one, local mythical creatures, and then fight other mythical creatures. Internally we called it like Santet Online. It's just basically like you curse other people online. But anyway, these were deliberately made to target local markets. So we did have experience in targeting the local market ourselves. Yeah. And other than that, as you probably have seen, Voltairean Arc has been there since 2010 from Adobe Flash. It was originally developed by a small team called Lucid Rhine, but then they were acquired by Agate, and then we continued the IP from Voltairean Arc 2 to Hero School Story, and then Hero School Story 2. So this is our Indonesia's longest running game IP, so it's been 13 years already, nothing is that old. And even until now, we found quite a lot of appeal, both, especially internationally, from this IP. Mainly, still internationally, these are the coverage, and some of the events where we were featured, and sometimes got awarded as well. My point was, how did this IP manage to live on for so long, for 13 years? I think the slides got confused here, but basically what we did was the core concept of Voltairean Arc is actually very simple. What we wanted to do is do Harry Potter. That's a well-known, even back then it was a well-known IP. But we don't want to be Harry and the students. We want people to be able to feel what it's like to be Gandalf. Not Gandalf, sorry. Who's this? Dumbledore. Wrong person, sorry. Looks the same. Kind of similar, sorry. But the idea was, because Voltairean Arc's core concept was that you have to manage a school where you build the buildings, you manage the students, and you send them on quests to fight bad guys. And then they will return, and they will become the next heroes of the land, so to say. So the idea was that you build and you train RPG heroes, not becoming one of them, not becoming an RPG hero. So the point was that to be able to live on for so long, an IP has to have a solid core concept that anyone can easily understand, despite it looking like differently at different stages. So like this, there was no image on this, but between here and there and this one, the art style or like the gameplay can be different, but because the core concept is the same, the IP still lives on and still has audience that is interested in it because of the core concepts that I think is translatable all across the world between different cultures. ending this session, I would say that so far, how Indonesian game IPs have succeeded is that originally they succeeded outside first, and then now they're starting to find audience in our own country, but also that game IPs such as Agate's Valterian Arc is still finding success overseas, and soon I think we are going to start looking at bringing this title or this IP in Indonesia, because we're seeing the shift towards Indonesians being more trusting to IPs made by local companies. Yeah. So I think that's about it for my session. Yeah, I think that's the end. Okay, thank you.
Terima kasih banyak. Yeah. Now let's gather questions from our audience. Any question? No? Okay. Silakan.
Sorry Mas.
Ya.
Oke, bahasa Indonesia aja ya.
Is that okay?
May I use bahasa? Okay. No problem. So my question is, this is actually the same question that my friend from Iwan Tirta Private Collection also asked me, and I don't know the answer. So what makes it some things from Indonesia will be popular outside first, rather than from inside of Indonesia? And it's a kind of mystery. I don't know the answer.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think it's a lot of Indonesians will probably understand that in Indonesia there is a huge gap of economic status between people who are well economically and who are not. Right? And mostly people who make games are on the at least medium, middle or upper classes usually. And these people actually relate more to international cultures. They are more terpapar, apa ya? What's the word? Anyway, they are more exposed. Yeah, they are more exposed to international cultures and international communications. Most of them already speak and understand English, and so the kind of games they make, the kind of games they play themselves, tend to be games from overseas. So that's why a lot of the games that they originally made, like the ones that are popular outside, are not popular with Indonesians themselves, because they are not from the same, the creators and the market from Indonesia are not from the same economic group. And so sometimes the cultures and how they play or the behaviors do not fit. I think that's the big reason why Indonesian games tend to succeed outside first, before they succeed internally. Yeah.
Okay. Any question? Yes, please.
Hello, thank you for the chance. I would like to ask Pak Cipto, okay, about the game itself, because you said that the game is usually more popular abroad than in Indonesia. Do you think that the game's IP also need a promotion? Or, for example, it's not come from comics or from movie or whatever. How about in Indonesia itself? For example, we create from zero, from scratch. Is that any effort, or okay, what will you do to make your game will be known by the market in Indonesia itself? Thank you.
Okay, so we can see this as in two parts. First of all, we can use the recently released Space for the Unbound which had the highest revenue from Indonesia. What they did was they did not actually focus on marketing to Indonesia, but they first they made a name outside overseas, and then they worked together with local influencers to showcase the Indonesia pride, and then that made them successful in Indonesia. The buyers or the users are PC and console users, which are tend to be a minority in Indonesia, but like previously said, they tend to be some of the highest paying users in Indonesia because PC and consoles are expensive, right? Most people in Indonesia play on mobile, and despite that, actually, despite the huge ownership of mobile, a large majority of them are very low paying users. So I think the strategy was similar, that they are by succeeding outside first and then promoting it in Indonesia through influencers, specifically targeting PC console gamers. They are only targeting the whales or dolphins or like tunas. We internally call them dolphins in Agate. So they are not targeting at all the fish or the minnows, what we call them. Yeah. That's one strategy. And the second strategy is what we did with in Agate's own games in Memories or Code Atma, is that we designed the game from the ground up for Indonesian gamers. And this targeted the majority of mobile gamers. We managed to develop quite a significant community, but then our problem back then was that the percentage or the amount of paying users was not high, except when we make merchandise. So somehow the successful monetization method was to make people feel like they can stand out socially by making limited merchandise of our game IPs. And that's how the monetization happened more than inside the game itself. So we play around with the behavior of Indonesians who want to be part of a society, and by becoming like a fan or by paying for items in the game or by merchandise, they can stand out among their peers because they are a fan of our game. So that's how so far we can see these two strategies. Yeah. Sure. I don't know.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, can I add one more, a little bit? So usually from your experience, how long is what is it? A game that is very new, nobody knows, and then up to people know. So how long will it take usually, according to your experience, the Agate experience, for example?
Okay.
And then meanings that if I catch your explanation just now, that the most important thing that we have to create the community for the game itself.
Okay, so two things. How long does it take to be popular in Indonesia? I think it ranges between 1 to 6 months, depending on how much marketing effort you spend and what's the strategy. For example, if we want to build slowly with word of mouth, which is usually more sustainable, then it might take longer. But if you want to go for virality, and then you want to be very, you want to be very popular very quickly, but then the hype can go down. Like for example, one of the examples was Tahu Bulat, a local Indonesian game. It was very popular very quickly, but then in a few months it goes down. Right now it's still very, it still generates quite a substantial amount of revenue, but definitely not as high as when it was viral. So it's between 1 to 6 months, I guess, to be popular in Indonesia, depending on the strategy, the budget, and the content itself. And the next one is community. Yes, I think especially in Indonesia, community is very popular because community is a key to be successful in Indonesia. Mainly because the number one reason why people play games in Indonesia is not because the game itself. The game itself is like number 2 or 3. The number one reason why people play is because their friends are there. So They play, the number one reason is because if they don't play, they can't talk about the game with their friends at school or at work. They are not part of a society. They are missing out on conversations. That's the number one reason why people play games in Indonesia. So it is key to build community, especially in games. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay. As we move forward, we have an exciting presentation on the agenda from Mr. Shanto, co-founder and CEO of Battle Brew Production, Singapore. He will enlighten us on cute, cool, and hot. What to pick for your game and the power of war.
Whoa. Okay, selamat siang and annyeonghaseyo. So I'll be giving a talk today. So I guess you all know that the internet slang, it's the power of uwu. Basically, that's cute, right? Super cute. So I'll give a short introduction about myself and where I'm from. So I'm from Battle Brew Productions. Let me just, okay. This is obviously the talk. And did it load? Okay, yes it did. Okay, so the first game that we made, and I mean we're here talking about IP, right? Is something called Battle Sky Brigade. So it's a cute world with bunnies and airships, and this was in 2018. We picked up 4 prizes across the region, and the game. Okay, well let me go back. So the game did well critically, but didn't do well commercially. We were Game of the Day, common indie story, right? Fortunately, that led to Apple noticing us, and that led to the second game, same IP, Battle Sky Brigade Harpooner. So this one ended up doing very well for us commercially because it was part of one of the exclusive 100 games at launch worldwide for Apple Arcade. So I believe we are one of 5 Southeast Asian studios, I think, on Apple Arcade at the launch back then. Sec. Did it go? Okay, then, so we were in a nice spot. We basically had money, so it's like, okay, so what do you want to build? So I'm from Singapore, and as we are known for, we are big foodies, so we decided to make food-based games because food is a big part of our culture. Unfortunately, we're also weebs, so we went with Japanese food. So that led to Noodle Superstar. This is a sort of like a cooking competitive game. Picked up, okay, so actually more prizes than that. And I can't say too much, but like it was picked up by an entity, signed, and then dropped because the genre was too risky. So then we talked about what to do, and that led to the current game that we have called Cuisinia. This is the most well-received game we've had thus far. I think it's got 11 awards as of right now and launches in a week. Okay, so that was I'll show you the game later, right? So today's talk is about cute versus cool versus hot. A little bit of context here is this is meant more for the small studios, and it's about creating IP and specifically games, right? So I'm not sure if this translates to other mediums necessarily. So this is what some of your audience must feel. I don't know if you all are familiar with this meme, right? But you know, there's these guys and they go like, oh man, you know, I've seen this before versus the, holy hell, that's amazing. So you always want your audience to have a strong emotional reaction, right, to what you're making. Logic is fine, but you basically want their lizard brain, the back of the basics, right, to be engaged. That bypasses logic, and you know, that's why you make games anyway, right? You're building dreams. So I've got this triangle here, basically, and every single product, including non-games, lies somewhere on this triangle. So we'll go through some examples, right? So cool, epic. If you look at like Space Marines, Doom, etc., that's obviously cool, epic, right? Censored, obviously, but you all understand why, right? So for those who play Nikkei, that's obviously one thing. Cute, and then that's what we specialize in, and that's obviously cute, right? So we're all generally familiar with what the genres mean, and here's a little bit of representation again. I don't have the hot there because censored. Okay, so most games will require a mixture, but usually you choose a main direction. This determines your target audience, which is quite important, right? Okay, let's look at combinations. Okay, so if you look at anime waifus, and yes, waifu is laifu, right? You're looking at a combination of cute and hot. And depending on how you change the style, you edge more towards hot versus cute. And then depending on the character, you have more cute or more hot or more cool, even within the same product, right? I'm not going to analyze full waifu games for this talk. If you look at Hades, this is Zagreus from Hades, from Supergiant Games. I mean, I'm going to be shot down by saying he's not cute. He's cute to some people, I'm sure. But he's very obviously cool and hot. I mean, he's like showing off his sculpted Greek body, and he's the son of a god. He's a demigod, right? So that's cool and hot. Supergiant Games, Hades, right? And then if you look at Splatoon, this is Splatoon for Nintendo. So that's obviously between cool and cute. So they're all stylized, they're all like chibi, but they're wielding huge weapons, and the whole game is very stylish. So that's cute and cool. So let's talk about like the various properties of the triangle, right? So why am I not necessarily going with cool first? Because frankly, you're going to be fighting the AAAs. I'm not going to read off the slides, you all can read that, right? But you are going to need some really high budget artists and programmers, be really good at Unreal, a whole bunch of tricks, right? But the AAA will generally trash you at this area. And then some people do pick hot, but if you pick hot too much, you just end up making a hentai game. Censored, right? So just see there can be polarizing discussion on taste, cultural morality, branding, and of course censorship issues, right? That being said, it's also a core part of the lizard brain, emotions, right, at the back. And then we bring you to cute, which, caters to a casual audience. And again, it has its cost. So obviously, if it's too cute, some people just won't play your game, especially people who don't like cute stuff. And core gamers basically might not like this as much. That being said, I'm going to try and sell you on why, as a small team specifically, for large reach, generally speaking, small studios can benefit from focusing on the cute. Of course, we're looking at combinations as well, so I'll use myself as an example and the products that we've worked on. Did we go? Okay, we've seen it. Okay, so this is some concept art that we had. And it's honestly really fast to mock up. You can check for appeal quickly, stylization. So we can talk about we can have a really long chat about artistic skill, but I'm just going to be blunt here, and obviously I'm biased, but you can, in some cases, get appeal easier with lower art technical skills than you have to try with cool, generally speaking, right? Next slide. Okay, that's more. So this is some examples of some 2D and concept translating into the rest of the game, and polishing some art, right? So if we actually look at the previous one, so like this one here, the left was actually, not as appealing versus if you simplified the shapes on the right, and then it became more appealing. So sometimes if you can take a reductive approach, and of course some brainstorming, right? Getting the correct style for cute can be surprisingly fast, right? So it's not about adding, sometimes it's about subtracting. Why do a blank slide? Okay, focus on cute, we have more concept art here, but again, you're looking at shapes and stylization, right? So to summarize, power of cuteness, right? Fast to mock up, stylization, shortcut to emotional appeal, for certain audiences. However, this may alienate core gamers. So I'll talk about our experiences with publishers and audiences, right? So Battle Sky Brigade, that's the IP that we started off with, right, our first one. It was a strategy game, and we basically was quite well received. You're looking at bright, happy colors. So again, I think we're selling on more of like the positive aspects. And if you look at why, and again, there's many reasons why we make creative products, right? The self-expression, all of that. But for games specifically, a lot of people play games to indulge in fantasy. You're selling them a world that does not exist in real life. And what I say about this, is the world currently a bit depressing? Yes, it can be. So maybe sometimes it's easier to sell happiness than it is to sell intense or depressing emotions. That's the way I'd phrase it, right? There's a bit more screenshots. So our experience here actually, so I just to talk, there was some success along the way, there was mixed results, and then there was some good success, right? So we put strategy and cute together for this first game, but it was actually tough to sell because there was a clash there. Basically, the gameplay was too core, too hardcore, very specifically, right? So do strategy gamers generally like cute things? The answer here, unfortunately, was no, all right? And that was an experiment on our side. That being said, so we took the town building portion of the game, ripped it out, and turned it into an idle game. And because suddenly there was no strategy, that did very well for us. So this one, basically Battle Sky Brigade, the strategy game, turned into Battle Sky Tap Tap, the idle clicker game. And we picked up 4 awards, did critically well, was Game of the Day on iOS and Android back in 2018. Led us to getting into the Google Indie Games Accelerator, and more importantly, okay, so those are screenshots. More importantly, it was easy to sell, right? So there was consistency on the approach. You had a cute game, it was easy to understand, the fantasy was easy to understand and sell, and people generally had a feel-good time with that small game. Next slide. Which then, of course, Apple noticed us and wanted new titles for Apple Arcade. So Apple Arcade, being the platform that it is, right? This is like one added benefit, and I know this doesn't apply to everybody, but if your game is basically family friendly, or your art style or visual approach is family friendly, that actually unlocks, obviously, the family friendly market, which I suppose you should not underestimate. Not that it's super relevant, but while I was like eating lunch in the other room earlier, there was like promotion for like Korean IPs, and I was listening to Baby Shark on repeat. So I see some people laughing. You obviously know what that is, right? It's so popular that it's a meme. It's the kids. It's the kids spiking YouTube's algorithm to get that really popular. So basically, if you have something cute and it's appealing enough, you get your core audience. In this case, all right, in our case, it wasn't toddlers, but in Baby Shark's case, it was toddlers. In our case, it's Asian girls or weebs who like cute stuff. They look at the stuff and go, cute da! Then like bring the boyfriend over. Then the boyfriend goes like, hey, actually this game looks not bad. And then the boyfriend buys the game for the girlfriend. So, actually useful strategy, right? So this was, don't laugh, it was a weird concept. It was an airplane shooting with fishing game. And I'd love to like recommend it to you, but our contract with Apple Arcade finished, so we have the full game back and I have to redeploy it back on iOS, but I have not done so because I'm busy building the next game, so I'll do so eventually, right? And obviously this was well received. However, so we still receive a bit of complaints from some gamers, aka they go on the thing, then they want to rate it, then they look at it and go like, too cute, low rating, and go like, bro, come on, you saw the art, right? So that's again a cost, right? So if you pick cute, or if you pick any of the quadrants, someone will complain. Of course, you know, just apply to your core audience. Which then led us to Noodle Superstar, and that was well received for what it was. So we did food here. So we picked food, and could we pair it with cute? So sorry, I think that meat is haram, but yeah. Moving on. Okay, so there was clear interest from our publishers. Again, we could sell a cooking game with a cute style, and that was an easy sell. Unfortunately, cooking games are risky, so there you go. That's something I learned. Which actually led us to what we are working on now. So I think this one, cross my fingers, is doing very well. So the team and I said we were going to reevaluate stuff a little bit. Cute alone wasn't necessarily getting us everything that we wanted, right? So I talked about some gamers complaining about basically it's too cute for some genres we're picking. So we moved our position on the triangle from cute to mostly still cute, but further to the center of the triangle with a bit of hot and a bit of cool. So we got main character over there, Pom, in an anime style. So we're no longer selling you just cute bunnies, but cute cat girls. So there's a limit here as to how much we made the character appealing in a certain way. It's the polite way I'd phrase it, right? So waifu, but not over-sexualized. No, serious, actually serious, right? And I think we ended up creating a world that was very well received. So we went to a lot of shows over the past 2 years. In Germany, we had a lot of fans. This was brought to Busan, both for BIC and G-Star, very well received. Tokyo Game Show, and yeah, so I think that's doing well. So it's basically an action game. This game's an action roguelite, so, you know, with a restaurant. So number one, the concept was interesting, and then it appealed to a good cross-section of gamers. So not too intensive on resources. Basically, we stuck to our core art style, still stylized, still cute, but we're not fighting the AAA, right? We have waifus, basically, but we're not as, how do I phrase it? We didn't go as alluring as Nikkei, which also has its, you know, people who stand against that for various reasons. And so this is like some of the events. So this was at recent Gamescom, and then we had people drawing fan art on the spot for the game, right? And then this one was at Tokyo Game Show, and again, we had people drawing fan art on the spot and leaving comments. So this is an example here of how, at least for us, right, if you start off with cute, which was easier to do on a small team, right, and then how it can affect your own IP and IP creation as you consider how you want to mix and match between the cool, cute, and hot triangle in your own creation of games, right? And that is basically, I think. Okay, right. So the summary. Okay, wait. Let me go back. So the summary of our best received IP after we moved ourselves on the triangle that I stated led to, I guess, our current success, right? So example, when anime style waifu, less generic. We want to stand out. We didn't want to fight Genshin, obviously, so we went more chibi, easier to draw anyway. And there was, again, consistency with the mechanics and the art style that we chose. And that's it for my talk. I have a trailer that I can play for the game, and then after that, I'll be happy to do Q&A.
Okay, Mr. Chonto, thank you very much for captivating presentation. Let's conclude our final session with the Q&A. Any question? Okay.
Hello, my name Ikhlas Tawakal from Tawakal Animation Studio. I just have the basic question and really simple. It's okay for you?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. How you manage your IP still make it fans still like it if you make some one game and after that you have the title 2 or like the Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, 10 or another, and how you manage your IP still the fans still like it. It's more like that. And the two, if when the IP is failed or something, do we need make it new or fix it, and after that we make it something new in there, more like that.
Okay, sure. I'll try and answer the first question first. So the way I understand that question is, how do you maintain the IP that you've created, more or less, over different products?
I mean, it's like how to make the fans still like it. It's more like that.
Okay, so I think the shortcut answer to that is the fans like the IP anyway. Like we've had fans from the first game come up to us and ask us whether we're going to build Battle Sky Brigade Tap Tap 2. And then the answer is, I guess, maybe one day. I don't have like a super business answer for you for this, but obviously I think they like the IP enough to ask about it. And then fans of Battle Sky Brigade Harpooner, which is the airplane one, same IP, different game, asked us about re-release on iOS, which I had to tell them I got to finish Cuisinier first. I think the truth is that the fans who like the IP will like the IP. The responsibility is on the developer, that's me, to, I guess, give updates or make new products within the IP. I guess for us, the honest answer is because we're a small team, then we left the Battle Sky Brigade IP alone for about 2 years while we made Cuisinier, while we built a new IP. But there are definitely fans who are waiting for us to go back to the first IP and make something in that world. So I think the fans will remain. It's just how it's the responsibility of the developer, in fact. Your second question?
It's more like if we make it IP, then after that the fans don't like it or something like look like this is failed, and after that do you think we must make it new or something like I fix it but I make it something new in there?
I think that's a personal decision because there's obviously been use cases where someone went back to a less appreciated IP and did something new with it. And of course, there's a ton of forgotten IPs in the world where nobody ever touched it again. So there's no standard answer to that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any question?
Hello, I'm Johan. So what I want to ask is, I want to ask about the idea that have been left out in your game. There are several ideas. I want to ask which one of your favorite of the one idea that you like, okay, we got to cut this off this game, the reason why, and why you think that idea should be left off. Thank you.
Okay, actually very simple question. If I just use the latest game. So Cuisinier is a dungeon crawler with a restaurant. That's the basic pitch, which is easy to understand. It actually started off more as like restaurant with dungeon with Stardew Valley farming. And obviously there are fans who want that back in the game. And in fact, it's a wish request that we have from fans at the game show. The answer as to why we didn't add it is twofold. One is, okay, it's actually all about audience, right? It's about marketing and production. Basically, I think we just wanted to finish this game as roguelite with restaurant, which is easy to pitch and easy to sell. And I mean, yeah, that led to that's the second part of the answer. It's easy to market, right? And then for the fans who wanted farming in the game, it's quite simple. Just make another game separately, maybe.
So in summary, it's a very practical decision of just like selling the game, right?
It has to be a practical decision.
Okay, thank you. It's a very awesome answer.
Okay, thank you so much. As we finished our last session from our speaker, I would like to formally conclude our online session with Korea. Extend our sincere gratitude to the Korean attendee who joined us today. 그럼 한국 측 온라인 워크숍을 이것으로 종료하겠습니다. 오랜 시간 참여해 주셔서 감사합니다.